So I'm Michael Newmuis, the 2026 director for the city of Philadelphia. Prior to this role, I was head of impact at FS Investments, which is an asset management firm where I oversaw philanthropy and a lot of impact initiatives for the US and Europe. But prior to that, for about 8 years, I served at Visit Philadelphia, the tourism marketing agency, where I worked my way up to be chief of staff and provided some interim leadership for the organization. Worked on the Pope's visit, DNC, NFL draft. Um, but my academic background is studying cognitive neuroscience at Penn, which is really all about the way in which we see the world and our roles within it. And I think that the 250th birthday of the United States is perhaps the greatest opportunity that we have to shift perceptions. And I'm going to walk folks through a presentation so that you can see what that looks like here on the ground and what we've been working on for the past 2 years that I've been in it. Alex, is it fine if I share my screen?
Sure, I think you should be able to. Maddie and I checked it out before.
Terrific. Uh, well, actually, I might have to. Tom, do you want to start with your presentation? And I'm going to work on
Well,
flipping.
yours is going to be more interesting, but I'm happy to describe what the trust does. Um, if you need a little time to figure that out, um, is that okay? Is that okay,
Sure.
Alex? Matt?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
I'm Tom Caramanico. I'm the executive director of Independence Historical Trust, and we are the philanthropic partner to Independence Park. So we've been around since 1972. We're a 501c3. We raise money for projects. We have done that for now 54 years, and we also do some programs in the park. And more recently, we're getting more involved in helping the park with some of the operations of different things in the park. So we you know we have some new things that we want to tell you about, some new projects that maybe on tours people might be interested in, uh, new things that have been recently built. The biggest one, of course, being the first bank of the United States, which will open on officially on July 1st. Um, we're very excited about that particular project. But we're a small organization. We have myself and Maddie. Maddie is the chief of operations. Maddie has been with the organization for maybe 17 years now, 17 or 18 years.
Just turned 18.
18 years. I've been on the board of the organization for 25 years. Um, so we've been around a long time, but we have some other staff members who are relatively new. We have a director of development, we have a programs person, we have a couple of other people who are helping us now. So we have a little more capacity than we used to have. And we're working with the Park Service to help to maybe open up more things, and the Park Service has the staff to open up. And so we're excited about where we are. We're excited about 2026. We've got a few things that are coming to fruition in 2026, which we can tell you about with some slides. And we're really here because all of you give tours about things that are important, and that's important to us. It's important that those stories get told, and we don't tell the stories. We do some tours. You probably know our twilight tours in the evenings, but that's not our real business. Our real business is raising money, and all of you are in the business of giving tours. So the park, we love the park, of course, but it really doesn't matter very much if people don't see it and if people aren't being told about it. And that's what you all do. So that's why you all are very important. So Michael, it looks like you are ready to go. Why don't you go ahead and do that, and then we'll pick up after you're finished.
Thank you, and please forgive my city issue technology.
No.
Uh, So I'm Michael Newmuis, 2026 director for the city of Philadelphia, the president of Tom's Fan Club, and all the incredible work that they are, incredible stewards of our national parks and all the services that the park system cannot achieve. I'm going to walk through this presentation just to give you an overview. Um, But before I go into my presentation, I want to first point out that across the city and across so many partners, there are professionals that wake up day and night that are focused precisely on public safety, transportation infrastructure, cleaning, and greening. And although I'm going to touch upon some of these, I'm not presenting myself as the subject matter expert on all things public safety or all questions related to SEPTA. I can answer some of those questions, but there are some really dedicated working committees that are focused on this day and night. What I'm going to focus in on is really what has Philadelphia done to prepare? What does some of the programmatic look like? What are you going to see across Philadelphia? Where are we compared to some of the other cities? When I got into this role 2 years ago, um, no one was more surprised than I was to learn that there was no budget allocated. You know, the mayor had just arrived. She was inheriting a budget, and we set out to change the tide and change the narrative. Over the past 2 years, I'm so proud to say that we have pulled together a total $120 million investment to make sure that we're ready. And we are ready. That's not just about bunting on a stage. It's about making strategic investments to help position the people of Philadelphia and our businesses for better success over the next 50 years, while also ensuring that we do have a robust product to sell. So, from Mayor Parker's perspective, Philadelphia, we are ready for America's 250th. Ring it on. But you don't just have to take the word of the city. I'm so proud to say that over the past 2 quarters, global media outlets far and wide have ranked Philadelphia as the number one place to be. Not only the Wall Street Journal, not only the New York Times, not only Forbes, but even the Philadelphia Inquirer has said Philadelphia is ready. And as I go through, one of my roles is really working across different cities and states through America 250, the Congressional Commission, through, U.S. Conference of Mayors and other avenues. And for so many destinations, the 250th is anchored around perhaps one seminal event. And as this group knows better than anyone, obviously Philadelphia, we've got quite a few, right? That little soccer game, so many great museum exhibitions. But what distinguishes our plan, and why even the folks who are driving the LA 20 Olympics are now studying with the goal of implementing, is that Philadelphia is the only town in the country that has an entire robust suite of programs dedicated to spread the spirit of celebration to our neighborhoods, dedicated to spread the economic benefits across not just downtown historic district, but even to neighborhoods that historically didn't always benefit. So I'm going to talk about that as well. But let's jump right into it. Before we go into what you're seeing across Philadelphia, I'm first going to walk through a few resources, including one that I think is particular interest to this group, and I hope that you'll make good use of. First, just so your awareness, if you go to phil.gov 2026, there is a resource hub that is a one-stop shop with information on the 250th. You're going to find in there a business readiness playbook, which sounds exactly like what it is, vendor interest forms, and that's basically just procurement and information about the app. There's so much more that you can explore, but I'm going to focus in on a few items that I think would be of interest. First is the Access Philly app. You know, when visitors or residents are coming, the first question they're going to ask is, where do I go? How do I get there? What is there to do on whatever day I'm actually in Philadelphia? And we've got a solution. We've made it almost impossible for anyone to miss America's biggest birthday bash by having a one-stop shop Access Philly app, which is all of the events, all of the activations that are taking place throughout the city. And not only because Philadelphia is a city of multiple languages, but also what's America's biggest birthday party without a personal invitation to our friends from across the world? This app will be available and is available actually in every language, including of the countries that will be hosting for the World Cup. It's available now in the App Store. And I'm really proud to say that we launched this about 1 month ago, and we've already exceeded 17,000 downloads that we can track. But our IT department, that's only devices that allow you to see analytics. We suspect that it might be 2 to 3 times that amount based on the backend activity. The only question that we ask when you sign up for this is, are you a resident? Which allows us in the backend to have some segmentation. But it has so many events, so many different categories, and I'm pleased to say that there is a tour category. And so much about this app is not just about making sure folks can find what's happening, but In a year when it's already so expensive for businesses to market their offerings, we've made this completely free for anyone, for any bar with a music or DJ, for any tour guide who's got a tour series to go on phila.gov/2026, sign up for a publisher account, and you can easily add all of your events right here to the app. And we can do push notifications. If you got something coming up this weekend, we can highlight it. We can make it trending. We can send out push notifications to get folks aware of what you're offering. So I encourage you all to check out the Access Philly app. But another item worth mentioning is obviously we were all here for Ed Rendell's DNC in 2016 with Hillary Clinton and saw those beautiful donkeys around town. And by now, I imagine most people have seen the bells that are across Pennsylvania, which I'll go into detail. But on this app is a scavenger hunt highlighting the bells across Philadelphia. And in just a week, we're going to be launching a national press conference to announce that as folks go and start to see some of these bells and compete the scavenger hunt, which is about to launch live, once the final bell is unveiled, that they will be able to win some incredible prizes. The biggest sporting events, concerts, behind the scenes experiences that you just can't buy, world-class museums and exhibitions. And the goal is really not just to give away experiences, but it's get more and more and more people on the app so that they can find your businesses, so that they can find your tours, so that they can find the museum attractions and other things that are happening. So that's called the Access Philly app. It's available on the App Store. We've taken over screens in the airport, on SEPTA, on Link PHLs. It's getting a lot of traction. We're really pleased with this. I mentioned earlier the business readiness playbook that is live. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's targeting, a lot of the hospitality businesses that they know when a staff up with surge staffing, some culture awareness, different cultures that tip, different cultures that don't, and all the information that businesses could need in one-stop shop so that even if you're not as digitally inclined, there's a printable guide that you can have in your back pocket. Let's skip over that since that's past. But now I want to really focus on what does it look like across neighborhoods. Mayor Parker's charge was very clear. Our goal is to really make sure that the neighborhoods and our residents of Philadelphia have an opportunity to build the celebration from the community level up, not just from the City Hall tower down. And what we did was work with Philadelphia 250, our key implementation partner, on a suite of programs that have a few different goals. One is obviously we want to build civic pride, right? That's so important. We want to increase economic opportunities, and we also want to make sure people can have a lot of fun and celebrate and commemorate in a way that's meaningful and personal to the various neighborhoods in which make up Philadelphia. Across Philadelphia, you're going to see a few different treatments. And what we did was work with each council district office to identify corridors that met a few different criteria. One is, in talking with neighborhoods, one, do you want tourists in your backyard? Not everyone does. And if you are accepting them, are you able to receive some resources to be good stewards? That includes some education, right? Like if you got a restaurant with a lot of strollers, how do you manage that efficiently to make sure everyone has a good experience? Or, you're offering different banners and light poles and benches. Are these treatments and interventions of interest to you? Because some neighborhoods want X, Y, Z and others don't. So we worked across different neighborhoods and we came up with a suite of programs that are currently installed throughout Philadelphia across not one, not two, but 20 different commercial corridors and cultural spaces, or rather civic commons, parks and such. These are areas that have a surrounding, concentration of jobs that can be supported, have a unique cultural identity that we can build upon. And we've got not only those benches, but some beautiful bike racks, planters that have a multi-year maintenance commitment through PHS, which is the flower show. We also worked to understand the identities that each neighborhood really wanted to highlight, colors and symbols. And everything that you're seeing is really informed by a lot of community engagement with the neighborhoods in which these elements will be installed, which is really important because nothing changes the mental quite like the physical, as my former boss, Meryl Levitz, would always say. And when people can walk outside and physically see their voices reflected, and their neighborhood invested in, it does drive an increase in civic pride, but it also gives a sense of belonging and that this is a co-creation, not just a prescription. So you're seeing these banners are the last item to be installed. They're actively going up now across the various corridors. And when I talk about the bells and the banners and the benches, they're not so much just about having discrete elements, but imagine if you arrive in any city, any town, USA, and you're being told to head out to this cool neighborhood to experience the celebration, but you don't quite know if you've arrived. Now imagine if you arrive and you see this treatment of different banners and a bell and benches, and it serves as really an anchor for that community from which you can then explore, maybe through the app, maybe through new wayfinding signage that's going to be installed shortly in the city. So they do work not so much just as discrete elements, but also as a collective. We've also got these gorgeous bells, which I'm sure folks are familiar with. These were announced last month, started to be installed. This is 30th Street Station. You can see the scale. Yes, it's really heavy anti-graffiti paint. We've got maintenance include. They're very weighted down so that they can't go missing. And every community has been really receptive of these. I got a beautiful email from Mayfair saying that where the benches are installed, they've seen a direct correlation to decreased litter and increased community activity. By now, I'm sure you've heard the Philadelphia 250, the Block Party Bonanza. We're supercharging not one, not two, but 250 block parties throughout Philadelphia. Anyone can apply for the permit, get a life kit, Civic Life, Liberty Kit, Happiness Kit, stuffed to the brim with decor and trivia, and even a $250 gift card compliments of Jeff and Sandy Brown at ShopRite. The Union League came on board, CHOP, so many partners to make sure that every neighborhood can really shine. There's also a neighborhood tour series, which is a free tour series that's limited. It's really one neighborhood per week, and it will have some media components too of bringing folks out onto these tour buses that are free and open to the public. And this is being operationalized by the Philadelphia Visitor Center for 20 weeks. I want to note that we've also made significant upgrades to the airport with a $500 million investment that did not come from city finances, but from the aviation fund. The screen's pretty self-explanatory, but a lot of these implement have already been implemented. The mayor's really excited about having clean restrooms, and more efficient signage. But you only get one chance to make your first impression. And we also took an audit of our highways and worked with Mural Arts across I-95, 76 to make sure that we could beautify before and after, right? On the right, you see the Tree of Life with tons of gorgeous greenery, no graffiti, beautiful painting to have a consistent presence. Likewise, 4 a.m. for the past few weeks, there have been artists taking over the CSX wall, which is what you see if you're riding Amtrak. The goal, quite clearly, make sure people feel welcome when they're arriving, help with business attraction with a key corridor with, New York and DC. So this is also part of the beautification scheme. And the city's proudly the largest funder of the transformative work that's happening over at Avenue of the Arts. But I do want to zero in on Market East for just a second. Market East from City Hall to Independence Hall is quite literally the road to the Semiquincentennial. And if you've been on it over the past few months, you might notice it felt blighted and a lot of vacant real estate. And we wanted to address that with a short-term solution as we work through a larger committee of business stakeholders on the long-term plan. In the short term, what you're seeing is a $1.85 million investment. Well, how that translates is, 40 brand new trees, brand new bus shelters, um, taking pop up, taking over 12,000 square feet of vacant storefronts that were empty and transforming them with the help of Mural Arts into a warm and inviting canvas as folks walk down to see artwork. You may have seen last week news about new pop-up real why am I so tired? Well, I think I woke up at 4 a.m. this morning and I've been going since. Pop-up real pop-up shops. And they're it's really beautiful. There's still more work to be done, but we've been investing heavily to make sure that Market East can also shine. There's a few new assets. I'm so proud that for the first time, our city, which is a city of sculptures, statues, and stories, has the first, will have this year, leading into next year. The first three permanent statues honoring Black women leaders: Harriet Tubman, Blanche Nixon, and Sadie Alexander. You may have also read that in partnership with Sly Stallone, we honored his wish of making sure that Rocky was at the top of the steps and only at the top of the steps. And we used that as an opportunity to relocate Smokey Joe to tell the complete story of both the athlete, the world champion who actually trained in the meatpacking district and ran the steps, is now echoing with the fictional character that inspired the world. Philadelphia welcomes everyone because welcome people, all peoples in our DNA, and we proudly opened our first LGBT Pride Visitor Center located in the neighborhood. This is inside of the Knock, and if you haven't been, you should definitely check it out. I believe Laura Burkhart's over there holding down fort, and it's had a ton of traffic already. Coming this fall will be its first of its kind, gorgeous outdoor oasis called Float Lab. Constructed in North Carolina, it's actually traveling here. By day, it'll serve as a lab that connects us with each other, but importantly with nature. And by night, it'll be a lab that will be activated by mural arts with some programming. What I love most about this, and this is over in Bartram's Garden, and yes, there is a bell. What I love most is that there will be the ballistics of this are such that you're always at eye level with the water, and it creates a really cool immersive experience. I'm gonna not touch upon this one, and I'm save that for my good friend Tom. But I'm gonna go into some of the programmatic elements. We've got a blockbuster year, and a lot of these things you may have already known about, and I'm gonna go through them rather quickly. But I do want to point out a few. Our planning really started last year with the 250th birthday of the Navy and the Marines because the mayor was very clear that before we welcome millions of visitors with the whistle of the World Cup, our charge is to roll out the red carpet for America's bravest. And I'm so proud that during the fall 2025 uh, federal shutdown, Philadelphia was the only city in the nation to receive a waiver from the federal shutdown to proceed with the 250th birthday of the Navy and the Marine celebration. That was a direct result of the work that we have been doing with the SecNav. And I'll tell you, Admiral Samuel Paparo, who oversees all of our Navy for China for the Indo-Pacific, said to me, he said, Michael, right now across areas of conflict, our young men and women are arduously working day and night, and they've been out for 6 months. And by the way, we're now extending it to 9. And in October, when they come to Philadelphia, for so many, that'll be their first time back on friendly soil. Says you see our sailors meandering Philadelphia in search of the world's greatest cheesesteak. For God's sakes, buy them a darn cheesesteak. And that's what we did. So the mayor was really intentional about making sure that we had a great experience. Obviously, Declaration's Journey, you can see the bench where Martin Luther King penned his letter from Birmingham juxtaposed against the desk where Jefferson wrote the iconic Declaration. Breaking Bread, Breaking Barriers. This is in 7 neighborhoods in partnership with the Welcoming Center with the highest concentration of immigration, where we've revived the civic dining program to bring folks closer together. African American museums, some incredible exhibitions there. The story of Marian Anderson coming to life. Germantown is unveiling its own set of 26 weeks of walking tours. National Constitution Center. Did anyone know that TED Talks, the group TED, they've got 3 billion annual views, and we're really excited that they are bringing their signature event to Philly as the culmination of a year-long program that's been in partnership with our friends at Visit Philly. And if you haven't seen the Universal theme parks at Franklin Institute, it's so much more than just a tactile experience. It's a gateway into anyone in your life who may be considering, or you want to direct at a young age to considering careers in STEM. It's something really special. Nation of Artists, this is another program. And by the way, the city of Philadelphia, through all of that, we've invested $30 million in grants across 60 different partners and more, including the ones I just showed you, as well as Nation of Artists, which is kind of like the FIFA of art that's taken over both PAFA and Philadelphia Museum of Art. But for each of our investments, it's really not just about the event itself. It's about creating opportunities for the future. So this one, it was really important that we worked with PAFA through our investment to also help reopen that historic building that you see before you. First Salute, another incredible exhibition. I'm so pleased. Dan Tadmore pulled together this rather quickly and with great success, and it highlights incredible heroes like, Haym Solomon, who basically financed the American Revolutionary War. PGA, we're still catching a breath from that, which just wrapped up yesterday. During the FIFA Fan Festival, which extends for 39 days, it was important to us that we also had some cultural offerings outside of sport. And I'm really proud of Bill Adair and Kathy Sachs, who restructured the timing of their Art Philly What's Now exhibition, which brings small artists with larger cultural institutions to bring artists together to answer the question, what now? Across multiple genres of art. This should say Highmark, but the Highmark Center is now celebrating its 50th anniversary, and they've got some incredible things. We're also investing in some of the evergreen festivals like Pride, Dune Day, Juneteenth, to make sure that they can shine on the world stage and have the capacity to welcome even more people. And of course, FIFA. You may have seen New York Times said that Philadelphia's FIFA is the envy of the nation right now because we did work across so many different elements to make sure not only do we have a free fan festival so that, you know, 70% of the folks coming here will not have a ticket. 48% of the tickets are being sold domestically, 52 internationally, and they're really expensive. So it was important that if the city's making investments, which we made significant, that everyone could still experience the magic and fandom of that game, which is why we do have that free fan festival. SEPTA will be launching brand new service routes. We'll be having a dedicated kind of flash-like trolley that will be taking people. We've studied the cultures of a lot of these teams. A lot of them do have walking cultures, so we've installed bells along the walking path to encourage more walking. And then, of course, July 4th is going to be exciting. Mayor Parker's excited to announce the talent lineup for her July 4th concert. Red, White, and Blue to do July 2nd, right? Taking over the historic district. We're excited for the first bank, and I'll save that for Tom. The Salute to Service parade is going to be massive with Miss Americas from each of the states and territories, at the state level with 250 elements that'll really bedazzle and bring to life our friends at Valley Forge, MLB All-Star. The Voices of Youth will be at the center, the Young People's Continental Congress. I was with them for their final session. Maniac Bike Race. I love this from invincible to invisible because it flips the script on what took place during the Sesqui, which was when a small newspaper called the American Independent that had a smaller circulation, about 70,000, asked who is a good American. And that celebration, kind of like ours at the onset, had a paucity of funding. It was going to just tank because there was no funding, but there were some people that came together and saved that day, and they weren't really celebrated. And this is going to be celebrating the contributions of so many. We Are the Seeds will bring the voices of Indigenous voices to life. Rocky, the 50th anniversary. Look out for some exciting cameos there. Philadelphia for Love of Philly. But I want to highlight a few of the things. So on July 2nd, Mayor Parker will be welcoming mayors from across the country here. They will march the market east, head over to behold the President's House, take a class photo of Independence Hall, and then head inside a Museum of American Revolution to have thought leadership from some of the most celebrated and Pulitzer Prize winning minds of this age. That same day, we will also be hosting the commemorative joint session of Congress. Um, July 4th, we've got the American 250 time capsule. I'm sure my colleague will be discussing. But there's so much. I don't think my audio's sharing, right? You don't hear audio, so I won't go through that
We
video.
don't hear it now.
Great. Then I won't play that video. But there's so much happening, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Anyone with questions? Yes, Jim
Yes,
Carr.
I was wondering about the tours, the free tours. Do you have a master schedule that's available yet, of the dates and the neighborhoods?
Yeah, it's all available online. Those tours are being managed by the Philadelphia Visitor Center, so that's Philadelphia 250. And I can send Alex a link to not only the app, but also to the tours so you can check that out.
Terrific. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else with questions? Anyone? Anyone? Hey, I guess not.
Just want to
Michael,
say
thank you.
it's hard to
Oh,
it's hard to listen to Michael describe all those things and not be worn out. I mean, just we at Independence Historical Trust, and maybe many of you, we focus on Independence Park area, around the park, and we got lots of things going on. But Michael's focused on everything around the entire city. And when I heard early on in the planning for the 250th, and they wanted to do something in every neighborhood, I said, well, good luck with that. I mean, I don't know how the hell that's going to happen, but it seems like it has happened, and uh, it's really incredible to see, Michael, the work that you've done with the administration and in making it a real event all around the city, not just in the historic area. I like to tell people, yeah, it's great. That neighborhood is good. Maybe Elk County, Pennsylvania is good, but it all happened right here at Independence Hall. But it is really exciting for everybody who lives in the city to know about it. And you've done a great job. Done a great job.
Thank you. It takes a village, and a lot of people. I didn't roll the credits, but I take no credit, and I just am so appreciative to be in a city with so many great leaders that have rolled up their sleeves and said, "We got to get this done."
So we're fortunate to have you doing this. And I guess now the question is, so 2026 will be over in about 6 or 8 months. And, then what do you do next? I guess we do have the 250th anniversary of the Constitution coming up. So, that's like, what is that?
2037.
20, 2037,
Mm-hmm.
And
2030.
and I'm so glad you mentioned that because this group should definitely know that we did just weeks ago unveil a brand new historical marker uh, that is at 3rd and Market, 235 Market Street. About a year and a half ago, I was approached by a really passionate group of scholars that needed some help in getting this thing over the finish line approved. But it does tell the story of Gouverneur Morris and Miss Dolly's boarding house. And really, one quick fun fact that I didn't know when I started this process is that also written in that house, it's believed because the final draft was in Gouverneur Morris's hands. And for those who don't know, Gouverneur Morris obviously penned the iconic words, "We the people of the United States." And that house housed Alexander Hamilton and Albert Gary. But the Constitution itself also had a transmittal letter, a cover letter that accompanied it. And that too was critical to the ratification of that document. And it was signed by George Washington on September 17th. And Gouverneur Morris drafted that. In the very final paragraph, there's 5 paragraphs of that letter. The final one says, this is Washington talking to Congress in New York, that this document is a result of a spirit of amity and mutual deference and concession. So amity meaning like friendship in French, and then mutual deference and concession, which is kind of a dirty word now, but it's compromise, right? That which we need more of. And he signed it that it's his ardent wish that this be ratified. And any troop knew that when General Washington said, "It's my wish that we take this hill," it meant we're taking this hill. But when he said ardent wish, it meant there is no plan B. We absolutely must move forward with this because, quite frankly, um, democracy had been written, but it needed to be made in practice. So the transmittal letter itself is something worth learning about as you're giving tours and you're seeing that beautiful new marker with Gouverneur Morris at the heading there because there's so much history behind it. And right now, Penn State's doing additional research to uncover more information about Henry, who was a freed black servant that lived in Miss Dolly's boarding house, who was a Quaker abolitionist. And was Henry in the room where it happened? Was Henry in the room where we the people became we the people of the United States and so much more? So it's a fun fact, and we're uncovering a lot of exciting stories and sharing them with the world this year.
There's always another fascinating fact like that I hear every time I am in the park and hear people talk, but I always am interested to realize that the Constitutional Convention, the colonies, all the states all sent their representatives to Philadelphia to modify the Articles of Confederation, to improve them somehow. And what they did was completely different than what they were sent there to do. And I say, well, we've been doing that ever since. we send our representatives off to Washington, D.C. to do whatever is the right thing for the country. And they do something completely different all the time. It's like, that's our history. That's what we're accustomed to. But it's great what you've done for the city, Michael. It really is.
What we've done for the city. It's exciting. It takes all of us.
Now, I did have a couple questions. Michael, will your slides be available to view, review?
Sure, I can send this to you and you can share them broadly.
Okay, awesome. And will the Access app have a scavenger hunt with the number one, the 52 weeks of first, the number one stat sculptures?
Unfortunately, the number ones, which are absolutely beautiful, are not a part of the scavenger hunt.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not. Some of those move indoors, then they move outdoors. These are all the bells are permanently accessible to anyone, and that was part of the scavenger hunt.
Okay, and then we have a wow, very exciting, and we love Philly fun facts just in the chat. So, any other questions? If not, Michael, thank you so much. Feel free to stay on and hear Tom and Maddie, or if you need to run, we totally get it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, Tom and Maddie, you want to continue?
Yes, I gave a little introduction, and Michael sort of made a little sneak preview of a couple of our projects. One is, as I mentioned, that we're a fundraising organization. That's what we do, is we raise money for projects in and around the park. And we have been around for 54 years, and have done many projects, but recently we've done a couple of very big projects. Michael mentioned one that I'll talk about just briefly, is the Join or Die sculpture. Join or Die is the cartoon published by Benjamin Franklin in 1756. It's a drawing of a snake cut into pieces, and the caption is Join or Die, encouraging all of the colonies to join in the fight in the French and Indian War in 1756. And in the original concept of the new plan for Independence Park, they had planned for that sculpture, for that to be made into a sculpture, a large sculpture. There it is, to be made into a large sculpture that would be located across from Independence Hall, a little bit north of where the bathrooms are on Fifth Street. It's about 46 feet long. We were asked recently to help with the fundraising, and now the stone has been cut. The pieces are in Wisconsin, where they're being carved in accordance with the artist's concept. And unfortunately, it won't be installed before July 4th, but should be installed later this year. But the other interesting thing about it is America 250, the federal commission that was authorized by Congress 10 years ago, probably, was tasked with burying a time capsule in Independence Park, and that time capsule is going to be buried right near the head of that snake, even though the snake won't be there yet. But it'll be buried right near the head of that snake, and we have been working with America 250 to get that done. The legislation said it had to be buried on July 4th, so it will be buried on July 4th, come or hell or high water, and it's really a little bit of a challenging thing. But 9 a.m. or maybe 8:30 a.m., 8:30 or 9, we'll be there with a crowd of press and other dignitaries to bury this time capsule, or at least to put it in the hole. We're not going to cover it that day, but we'll put it in the hole. So that's we don't know exactly what's in it. We're not part of that, but we are part of just getting it in the ground, which is not an easy task. But we love doing these kinds of things, and we love doing things around the park where people can go and see them. I'll let Maddie talk about many of the projects in the programs that we do, and I'll chime in where I think I can add something. So Maddie, why don't you go? Maddie has some slides to show you all, and I'll let Maddie go through those things. Maddie is our director of operations. As I said, has been around a long time. Nothing happens at Independence Historical Trust without Maddie. She reviews everything. She pays all the bills. She schedules everything. I don't do anything unless Maddie tells me I should do it.
I think the most important part was that I pay all the bills.
Yes.
Well, thank you everyone for coming out tonight. Tom and I were very excited when Marianne and Alex asked us to present because we absolutely love talking about our projects. As Tom said, we've been around since 1972. We were created to help the park get ready by Bicentennial, and this is what we do. We help the park ready for events. So we have a few projects we want to talk about with all of you, just to give you an update of where we're at. Um, the first one, which hopefully is not a surprise to any of you who are working in the district, is our Benjamin Rush Garden with the Bicentennial Bell. As you know, the garden opened in 24 officially. Last year, we had Duke of Edinburgh, Prince Edward, dedicate the garden. He's there with the Mayor Cheryl Parker in the lower left corner. But the final piece of this project is getting done this year, and that is signage. Um, if any
I
of
don't
you have
think
been
I
over
don't think
there,
your
I've
I
heard.
don't think your slide has moved forward, Maddie.
Oh, is it not? Let me just get out here. Let's try this. All right.
There you
Can you
go.
see this one? Okay. Um, for anyone who's been working in the district, you may have heard what I hear, which everyone thinks this is the Liberty Bell. It's only 5 times bigger than Liberty Bell, but they all get very confused. So we are bringing signage into the park where it will talk about the actual bell, how big it is, as well as Queen Elizabeth, who gave it to us in 76. We're also going to talk about Dr. Benjamin Rush. We want to make people aware of what he did for the colonies as well as the new nation. And we also are talking about mental health because Dr. Rush was very big about mental health. So we want people to come to this garden and just have a moment to relax and enjoy. I hope anyone who's bringing in groups is using the lower garden for a shaded spot. It's probably the best shade spot in the entire park right now. I personally like it. I also like the water feature there. Uh, a project you maybe didn't realize we were doing because you can't see it, which is part of the thing we want to do, is we're putting a solar array or solar panels at the Liberty Bell Center. So they finished up last week installing all these panels on the top of the Liberty Bell Center. The goal of this was actually to support cost-saving measures at national parks. It was supported by Subaru and the National Park Foundation. Actually, as we speak right now, the entire Liberty Bell Center may be dark because they're connecting everything, so all the power is off in the building. But once they connect it, we will start saving some money at the Bell Center, which is always a nice thing for the National Park Service. All right. Um, just last week or the week before, we finished putting in new trees around the park. I'm sure all of you have noticed the empty tree pits that have graced our landscape for many, many years, some of them having tree stumps in them. Through a grant from the Philadelphia Funders Collaborative, the Trust, along with the National Park and the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society, actually installed 18 new trees in all the empty tree pits. We were able to get rid of all the trash in them, get rid of the stumps, and get rid of anything else that was causing the trees to have issues. The grant also covers the maintenance of the trees for 1 year. So we are hoping that this will help the trees take root and we'll get more shade around the walkways in the district. We also, for those who don't know, Washington Square is part of the National Park Service. It was gifted to the park in the early 2000s. We actually support Washington Square. So there is a group there called the Washington Square Volunteers. They're a wonderful volunteer committee who handles all of the flower beds, and there are a lot in the square. So we work with them to fundraise and to support projects. Last year, we restored the guardhouse that you see here in the second circle. This is actually a historic guardhouse. This is from Fairmount Park when it was originally created. It is, I will tell you, it was shocked us how much money it costs to restore a guardhouse. I'll tell you that. It was quite a bit. But it looks beautiful and it will be preserved for many, many years. So we're excited for this. I was told by our director of development to let people know we will be starting a campaign for Washington Square to keep it beautiful and to help maintain it for the future. So you'll start to see a little bit more of that in our newsletters as well as any other publications, social media we put out there, because we really do think Washington Square is a jewel that needs to be protected and preserved, but also usable and friendly to everyone who lives in the area and visiting it. I will not
Our
go
hope
much into
is
this because Tom talked about this.
I,
But I
our
do want to
hope
point out, if you can look in the top, if you look at the top left corner, you can actually see a clay sculpture, and that gives you a good sense of how big this is going to be. And it's in the gravel area next to Fifth Street. bathrooms. So I do want to give a heads up, as much as we are trying to get rid of all construction fencing in the park before Memorial Day or right after it, this starting on June 15th through after July 4th, we'll have a fence around that gravel area. So if you use that area for sitting benches, it's a shaded spot. I just want you to be aware that that won't be available starting June 15th because we are digging a very large hole. We don't want anyone falling in. You know, it's all about safety over here. Tom, anything else you want to add to this one?
No, no, no. It's been a little bit of a challenge working with America 250 to get this time capsule buried, but we're going to get it buried one way or another. And we still are raising money for the jointed eye sculpture, although we have enough money to create the sculpture. We don't have all the money we need to install it, but we're working on that, and we hope to have the money by the fall so it'll get installed.
And Tom, as Tom mentioned, we are going to be burying this on July 4th. The plan right now is that will happen at 8:30. So I hope everyone comes out to see it. And then they walk over one block to the mayor's program that happens also on that day. And that will be happening, I believe, at 11 a.m. But Michael will correct me if I'm wrong.
It, we were out there the other day, what was it, what, Wednesday or Thursday last week, in person with American 250 and the city police and the security people and the mayor's people and everybody else. And everybody was looking around to see, well, when exactly, where's the mayor going to speak and where's it going to happen? And it's all up in the air because it's not all nailed down by the mayor and her people. So,
Yeah,
um,
as of this morning, uh, America 250 is targeting 8:30 a.m. for the installation of the time capsule. And then at 11 a.m., the mayor will host her annual tradition, which is the Celebration of Freedom ceremony in front of Independence Hall to give out some awards and commemorate this historic milestone.
okay. Well,
So in case you weren't busy, July 4th, we'll have things for you to do in the morning with all of us.
we'll all be there.
Yes, we will. So this is a project that is not on park grounds, but just adjacent. And one of the things that Tom mentioned previously is for the Independent Historical Trust, we do projects that are both in the park and in the gateway communities around the park. Because as we all know, visitors have no idea when they're actually in a national park or not. Um, and this is called the Commerce Connector. It is a pathway that runs parallel to Market Street from 5th to 3rd, or halfway between 3rd and 4th. It is city property managed by the Parks and Recreation Department. Um, you know, before there was you can see in the middle picture, there's a restaurant right there. This used to have a porch on it. The porch has been taken down. This was meant to always be a spot where I'm going to say the locals really, because it's kind of like locals know. It's a spot for locals to get away from the Market Street area. It's a nice little green area, landscaping, and it wasn't well taken care of. It needed some love. So with the city of Philadelphia and Councilman Squilla, as well as Parks and Rec and Old City District and the nonprofit Old City Green, the trust has partnered with them to rehab this area. It will now have new brick pavers. It will have new lights, so it's safer at night for people. It will have a sculpture that will be at the very end. You can see in the first picture where there's a construction equipment, the sculpture will be there. It's just going to be a nice little green escape if you don't want to walk on Market Street. And we hope that everybody will go there. As of right now, we found out that we're a little delayed. We were hoping it would be done by July 4th, but we are delayed with shipping and waiting for parts and waiting for lights to come in, which is very common for Tom and I. We feel like we're always waiting for something to come in for shipping. But it will get done this year. And we're very excited to have this available to everybody, and we hope everybody uses it because it will be a really nice spot just to get off Market Street a little bit. Tom, anything to add to Commerce Connector?
No, I would say
Because
that
you actually know this project like
the
really
residents
well.
around there love the idea. It's improved the whole area. The lights will be great. This property owner, where we took down his porch where he had tables and chairs, uh, he expects to be able to serve food out there on tables and chairs on this patio that's the paved area that's there. So everybody seems to love the idea, but because it was a Parks and Rec owned property, Parks and Rec has many other priorities. And so Councilman Squilla arranged for the money to come to us, and we hired a contractor to get it done. So we're happy to do it, and it everybody says it's beautiful. So we're happy about that.
Yeah, we're very much looking forward to that being finally done. The other project we're working with the City of Philadelphia on is the Market Street Pedestrian Plaza, also called Tamanin Plaza. So a couple of years ago, Old City District had this idea under their Vision 2026 plan. We started talking to them about it. We talked to the city. The city said we're actually redoing Market Street anyway as part of a road diet. And we asked, could we incorporate this into the plan? It really worked out well. The trust was able to fundraise and pay for this plaza. So these are pictures taken from Saturday. So this is as updated as I can get right now. It's looking amazing. It has new planters in it. It is right at the corner of Second and Market Streets. One thing we do want to let you know is while our hope had always been that the statue of Chief Taman would be located on here, as of right now, it will open without the chief's statue being on there. We are working with a company to help facilitate dialogues between us and federally recognized tribes to talk about interpretation there and what that could look like. And maybe down the road, we'll be able to put the statue there. But for right now, we would like the Lenape peoples to actually determine what is interpreted there and what stories they want to tell. So we're starting that piece. So that's our phase 2 of this project. But as far as I know, this will be opening soon. We're almost done. And I think one of the nice surprises of this project was SEPTA started to look to see what we were doing there and said, well, our head houses aren't looking that great there. Maybe we should also do something. And part of this project actually got, they started redoing the head houses, making them not so white and big and having giant elevator cooler systems on them. You can see the top picture. They actually took the big mechanical thing off the top of that. So I think it's going to be a really nice intersection. And I'm hoping that as tour guides, you'll be able to take your groups onto that plaza right there because it looks like there's some benches, and you'll be able to talk about Chief Tamna and the Lape people and still see him even though he's not on the pedestrian plaza. So we're excited for that. That should open, I think, within the next month. We're just waiting for final dates from the city of Philadelphia. And then the big project. Tom mentioned this. This is the one. Tom and I have been working on this since 2017. Tom and I have been talking to people about this since 2008. We've had many people who want to use this building, but we're excited that the Park Service said, no, we want to use this for the park. So in 2017, the park came to us and said, we want to reopen the first bank. Tom and I said, great. How much money do you need? They said 17 million. We said, okay, we've never raised that before, but we'll get there. And then it became 43 million. So it's been a journey, but it's been an amazing journey. It's incredible to see how much that building has changed and what they've been able to do over there. So for those who don't know, the first bank is the bank where Alexander Hamilton really, it's his idea. It's what he created as the first bank. We call it the grandfather of the Federal Reserve. So the first bank is the grandfather, the second bank is the parent, Federal Reserve is the child. And we have them all in the city of Philadelphia, which is amazing.
Yeah, that was not called when Alexander Hamilton created the bank. It was called the Bank of the United States because we didn't know there would be a second bank. It was the Bank of the United States, and it was located in that building. That building was built in 1797, and it still stands there. The second, Congress did not renew the charter for the first bank in 1811, and so the building was given to or sold to Stephen Girard, and Stephen Girard owned the building until he died. He donated it to the city. The city owned it until 1950s when the Independence National Historical Park was created, and they sold it or gave it to the National Park Service. But here it is now rehabilitated. That little building you see on the back is a brand new structure. That's an addition that has the staircases and elevators and bathrooms in it. But it is a beautiful, beautiful building, and we're happy to be able to open it up to people and let them see where the financial system of the United States was actually created. And soon we'll have exhibits in it to tell the story of the creation of that financial system. We'll have some temporary exhibits in it this July through next year, but eventually we'll have exhibits in it to tell the story of the creation of the financial system.
So all of you here are getting a sneak peek of what's inside the building. It has not been opened 30 plus years, except for one day in 2018 when it was boiling hot. And we saw 3,000 people come in the doors. Yes, Welcome America had this idea. They said we should open the building for one day. And we said, there's no like air conditioning at all in the building, right? And the mechanical systems have all failed in the building. And like we should still open it. And we said, okay, we're gamed if you are, nobody may come in. And we saw 3,000 plus people in the course of 6 hours. So we know this building is popular. We know people want to be in there. So the middle picture you're seeing is actually what it looks like, the interior right now. Still a little construction in there, but we have a beautiful glass dome in there. We have found some historic marble from the early 1900s that nobody knew was there. So there's been lots of surprises along the way, good and bad. Um, and we're very excited, as Tom said, that we're reopening the building. We will have some temporary exhibits in there. So we are working with the Department of State as well as the city's Atwater Kent collection at Drexel University. They are combining two exhibits together. One from the State Department is called Marks of Friendship, 250 years of U.S. diplomatic treasures. What they're doing is the Department of State is actually in charge of furnishing embassies around the world. And so they are taking gifts that other countries have given to our country and showcasing them. These are things that are not seen by the public. Unless you work in an embassy, you do not see these things. And they've never been on display before, other than 3 days in Washington, D.C. in January. And once they're done here, they're going back to their embassies. So the only chance to see this exhibit is here in Philadelphia. We're very excited about this. And then the Drexel University is bringing out the Americans' National Anniversaries, Philadelphia on the World Stage. They will be showcasing art and artifacts from the major celebrations over time to show how Philadelphia celebrates our nation. So we're very excited for this. As Tom said, it opens on July 1st, and we will have these exhibits through February 15th of 2027. So we have some time here in Philadelphia for everyone who wants to see it. The Park Service will be operating the building. Operating hours are Thursday through Friday, 11 to 4 during the summer. Obviously, it will may change in the fall, but this is what we have right now. And there will be no charge to attend the museum. It's free of charge. So I know we all like that for our visitors and our guests. And as Tom also said, there are bathrooms. So for the first time in many, many years, there are bathrooms on that side of the park, and we all really appreciate that. So I think we're
You
going to
said
be
it's
excited
open
about that.
Thursday through Friday. You meant Thursday through Sunday?
I'm sorry, Thursday through Sunday. Yes. Thank you, Tom. So that is our first bank project. And as I said, Tom and I have been working on this for many years, and he and I are just very excited to actually see it open to everybody. Um, Now I can't talk about the trust without talking about the summer programming. We Our goal here is to get both our visitors, but also our locals back into our national parks. We know that people don't always want to do a tour, so we find ways to meet them on their level. So as a reminder, we do host yoga at Independence. It's the third Saturday of the month. We do this from May through September. We have a Bark Ranger program for all those who have their dogs in the park. This is a chance for dogs to actually become a Bark Ranger at Independence. They get sworn in, and it's very cute, and we all love it. It's the best program of the summer. We always have our Twilight tours, and I want to just shout out to the few tour guides I see here who are part of that. So thank you every time you come out and do this with us. We're very excited. The Twilight tours have been going since 1978. They were created because they felt after the Bicentennial, nobody would come to the city of Philadelphia, and they wanted to find ways to encourage people to stay in the city once they did their tour. So the Twilight tours were created to support tourism in the city long before we ever thought about that from a Visit Philly or anyone else. So it's always great to have that kind of history behind us. And of course, the other program we do is the Movies on the Mall. This is a very popular program we do with the Philadelphia Visitor Center and the National Park. This year, we will be showcasing National Treasure because that brings out many people, both one and two. We'll also be showing Hamilton this year, which we're very excited about. And there will be a surprise Halloween movie in October. So we hope everyone will come out for that. We're also partnering with Welcome America and the Visitor Center on June 19th for a showing of Harriet. So we're just excited for all these free programs that we can offer this summer and appreciate all the support people give and sharing this news with everybody. And then there's other things Tom and I thought when we were talking about what we would share with you, we thought we should talk about some of the stuff the park is doing. So the park has been getting ready for 2026. I think most anyone who's been around has been seeing the fencing. You've probably been redirected around a pathway that got closed down. The park has been very busy for the past couple months trying to get ready for the park. I know Michael touched on a few of these, but Independence Hall and the square, if you haven't been over there, they're shining. I mean, it looks beautiful right now. They've done a ton of work. They're currently doing a ton of masonry work on the brick pathways. They're painting all the bollards on Independence Mall. They really want to showcase this park at the best advantage to make sure when all the TV crews come and all the visitors come, it looks its best. And it's really showing right now for that. Um, in case you weren't aware, there is also a new exhibit coming to the West Wing of Independence Hall. It used to be called the Great Essentials exhibit. I think that's what they're going to keep it as. But that opens in late June. So that's a free exhibit once you're on the square through security. That will be available. And I've seen some design images. It looks amazing. I can't wait to actually see it. Obviously, we're doing some power washing. They did that at the President's House site this week. They're doing it at other locations. And the Declaration House, while it will not be open, did get a new roof and they have rehabilitated the facade and garden. So people who do go there can at least have a pretty view, even though they can't open the building right now. So there is a ton of things happening at the park. Um, and while I will not go through all of this, I can share this with Alex later. These are just some of the things that are be opening. So we always talk about what buildings are open and closed in the park. As you know, the Independence Hall has been doing the open house hours, the standard 20-minute tours and expanded tour. They're going to keep that's this summer. Congress Hall will be open with an open house and then 20-minute tours as well. We will have the Bell Center, Old City Hall, West Wing exhibit in late June, and the Ben Franklin Museum, all open daily 9 to 5. We also have the Franklin Court Printing Office. They're open Thursday through Monday with special costume interpretation. The Portrait Gallery of the Second Bank is reopening this summer. I think we can all clap for that. We've all been waiting for it. They have enough staff this summer, they can reopen it. It will be open Thursday through Sunday, 12 to 5, and there will be special ranger-led talks as well. First Bank, as I said, is Thursday through Sunday, 11 to 4. The Free Quaker Meeting House will be open. And of course, Thaddeus Cusco National Memorial is also open. This is truly the tip of an iceberg. There are lots of ranger-led talks. There are history hangouts this summer. I really encourage you, if you're not already going there, please go. And I have that spelled wrong. It's nps.gov/Indy. Please go to the park's website. They post their hours of operation almost as soon as it's decided. And that's a great location to go to just to know what's open, what's closed. All right. And with that, that is everything from Tom and I, unless Tom has something else to add to this.
No.
It's a lot.
We did have a few questions. So, how will the traffic be at Second and Market? Only pedestrian or one lane?
Well, I think the traffic lanes are being reduced to one lane because of the what they call a road diet project on the rest of Market Street. So I think it's one lane in each direction, but it's not going to be pedestrian only.
Okay. And are there still plans to have exhibits at the First Bank related to economics and finance?
Eventually, we had exhibits designed previously, but the Park Service is rethinking those exhibits, and we're in the process of working with them on that process. And we'll come up with some new exhibits, but there will be exhibits in it that talk about the creation of the financial system of the United States. But they're not finished yet. They're in the process of modifying what they had previously thought they would do. And then we still have to raise a little bit of money to finalize those exhibits. We think we have enough to do it, but we might need to raise a little bit of more money. But that'll probably happen, 2027 or 2028 when that stuff will be done. In the meantime, we will continue to have temporary exhibits in the building.
Okay. And
One
then,
thing that we do want to point out with that one is, so that decision was a few years ago, that we decided to hold on any permanent exhibits, mainly because we want to see what 2026 looked like. And we want to see how people want to use the space. One of the things we think is very interesting is our current leadership at the park was wondering, do we want another museum? Do we want a spot where you can come and learn some history, but also have flexible space that the community could gather in? So 2026 is going to be a time when we look into that and see what we think the future of the building could be. We always know there'll be some exhibits there. The question is, how extensive will they be?
okay. All right, thank you. Um, how will pedestrian access work on the Commerce Street corridor? Doesn't it come out to Market Street in the middle of the block?
It does.
It
It does come
does.
in the middle of the block. It comes out right across the street from the Franklin storefronts, the entrance into Franklin Court. Um, we have there's some of us, and this debate goes on, and the city has something to say about it. But I believe that's a good place for a mid-block crossing. The city of Philadelphia Streets Department doesn't particularly like mid-block crossings. I think they had some mid-block crossings up in Center City, which worked very well. I think mid-block crossings are really a great thing. I happen to be an engineer that spent most of my career designing highways, so I hated mid-block crossings 10 years ago, but I love them now. And as my mother used to say, there's no zealot like a convert. So I really think mid-block crossings are a great thing. So we have that in the back of our minds, a mid-block crossing right there. But there won't be one to start.
Okay, great, thank you. And has there been any thought to adding sun protection at the Liberty Bell Center where people stand in line, maybe while the solar panels are going up?
Protection in terms
Um,
of rain or sun,
Tiffany,
that kind of thing.
I'm assuming it's also probably from heat. I've seen that
Yeah,
line.
I
It's
think
very
so.
hot in the summertime.
Yes, yes.
Um, so we don't have a project at the moment. I do joke with our superintendent quite often that I want to have misters there. I haven't gotten the quite approval for that yet, but if everyone wants to give me their backing, I'll tell him I've got the backing of APT for some misters, and I might get this passed. No, we don't have anything yet. I know the vines were supposed to grow the right way, so there would be shade, and has never happened in the entire time that we've been here. But there is, I mean, truly, there is discussions with our chief of law enforcement, our safety people, because we all recognize it's a challenge there, but there's no great solution just yet. So we're working on it.
Yeah, and our MDO office, our managing director office, will be installing, in partnership with a few partners, hospitality hubs, like little refresh stations throughout Philadelphia. So you'll see uh, these popping up in areas of great um, congestion, pedestrian congestion, including along the pathway to the World Cup. So not related to Liberty Bell Center, but that's another thing that we're thinking through. Um, and as Maida touched upon, everything costs money and
Yeah.
costs resources. So
Yeah, one of the challenges, and we face that, Michael, with things we wanted to do for those people standing in line at the Liberty Bell Center, like could we give them water? Could we have umbrellas for them? If they wanted on a hot sunny day. And one of the pushbacks we got, now we haven't gotten it from this superintendent, but one of the pushbacks we got in the past was you can't provide any corporate support to those there can't be any, you can't be handing out things that have a corporate logo on them. Like, this water provided to you by Comcast, or this water provided to you by ABC Consultants or something. So that's just that I see that as a problem just to work around. But I think taking care of the visitors is really the most important thing for us. And um, but we see it as a problem, and we would like to find a way to solve that problem. We've also been talking to the Park Service about the entry into Independence Hall. Sometimes there's a long line there, sometimes not. But and the Park Service, I think, is really thinking long term. This is not next year, but long term about a better way to get the visitors into Independence Hall, and we're all over that. If they need to raise, like we started out with the first bank was 17 million, and it ended up to be 40 million. If they need to raise 17 million to get a better way to get people into Independence Hall, we'll be there, even if it turns into 40 million. We don't. We want to help make that better.
I think that's a great way if you want to take one thing away from about who the Independent Historical Trust is. We're here to help the park with problem solving. So there are problems and there are always going to be solutions. It might not be the first solution, it might not be the 20th solution you thought of, but eventually we're going to get there. And then our job is to try to find the support behind it while preserving the integrity of the national parks, right? Because nobody wants to walk around a national park with billboards everywhere. That's one of the beauties of being in our parks, but we have to find the balance. And so Tom and I spent a lot of time finding that balance of how do you protect the integrity, but also how do you raise the money so that everyone's happy? And it's a process.
Yeah. One thing we didn't mention about the Benjamin Rush Garden is we did raise money to fund the Philadelphia Horticultural Society to maintain the gardens. One of the things we raised, $1.5 million for that garden, and a lot of people ask, well, is it going to be maintained? How well is it going to be maintained? And the Park Service, is struggling with how to maintain everything they have. So we raised some money, and so the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society has a contract to maintain it for the next several years. We'll have to raise more money to continue that, but we want to do that in other gardens around the park because Horticultural Society is thrilled to do it as long as we can raise some money to pay them.
Great. Is Welcome Park included in the landscaping and cleanup projects?
That is a future project. So the Park Service, while it's on hold right now, is working on some design options for Welcome Park. So I expect that we should have that. We're hoping by the end of this year. And then I think there'll be discussions. I'm not sure exactly how they're going to handle community feedback. And then the trust is going to be working on raising the money for the construction. So it's definitely not a 2026 project, but it's, I would say, in the next 5 to 10 year project for us.
Yeah, we have some money from we got a state grant, a RACP grant, a redevelopment assistance capital program grant, which we couldn't use where it was given to us, but we moved it. We got approval to move it to Welcome Park, so we have some money waiting for the design to be done. It probably isn't enough, but we'll have to raise some additional money to get it done. But that's a very, very high priority for us, in part just because it needs it, number one, and number two, because the pathway along the side of Welcome Park it takes you out to the I-95 cap.
So it will be definitely one of the entrances to the cap to the national park. So it's really important to make sure that people feel safe and it's activated for them in the future.
Okay, great. And then the printing office is closed on Tuesdays and Wednesdays until further notice. I know I asked one of the park rangers and they thought maybe till the end of the summer. I'm not sure if you have an end date for that. But the post office will be open on Wednesday, correct?
I would love to tell you everything about the post office, but there's so many issues. One thing you should be aware of is the post office is actually leased by the United States Post Office. So the park does not have any say on when it's open, who works there, what happens. It's completely maintained and leased by the United States Post Office. From what I've heard from people I've talked to who work there, unfortunately, because they feel that there's not as high traffic in that location as others, and because it has limited services, when another post office in the area needs workers because somebody has called out or there's short staff, that's the first place they pull from. So even though they say they're open Monday through Saturday, I think it's like 8 to 5 with a lunch hour. It's such a gamble right now. And I truly would love to figure out how to correct that. And I've had no luck at the post office getting a hold of anybody. So I think it's just something we have to deal with for now.
Okay, and just a couple more questions. Will the Grab House reopen? Um, Thomas Jefferson and Declaration of Independence. I guess will the Grab House reopen?
Well, one
Not
day
that
we hope it will, but not in the near future. The funding for it is really up in the air. We talked about it a year ago, more than a year ago, and the money that they needed to do it was way beyond what we could raise while we were doing the other things we're doing. So, but it's on the list of things that we're focused on, and we will be talking to the Park Service about.
Mhm.
Okay, great. And Dock Street is still being renovated. Any ETA on completion of that project?
I am told, well, one, I'm told that it's going to be done before the reopening of First Bank. It was supposed to be done in mid-May. I think it's a little delayed, but the Park Service is pushing all contractors to be fully done either by this Friday or within a week or two into June at the most. They don't want construction fencing up. So as far as I know, that will be done before June 16th, which is when we open our gala at the First Bank. So that's the day I'm keeping them to.
Okay, great. And is it safe to assume the time capsule will be opened on the 300th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence?
On the
No, they said
500th,
250 years. So the 500.
250 years.
So
Hmm.
250 years from now.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
Yeah.
So the
500. Okay.
sculpture has to survive that long so we can find a
Okay.
time capsule.
God knows what they'll find when they dig it up 250 years from now.
How big is the time capsule?
It's I
Good
think it's
size.
about 24 inches, 30 inches in diameter, and about 3 feet tall.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
capsule itself.
Okay.
That's the capsule itself, and it has something in there in different chambers. Has something, well, we're told, we haven't seen it, but something in there from all of the 50 states and all the territories.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Each
Okay.
state, each territory got a space.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, and then one more question, actually two. How has the Constitution Center uniquely supported the 250th signing of the Declaration versus future observance of 250th signing of the Constitution in 2037?
Well, that's a good question for the Constitution Center. I will tell you, and I think most people who are on this call would say, the Constitution Center just opened a permanent exhibit that really talks about how the American Revolution influences the Constitution. It's a wonderful exhibit. I encourage everyone to go. They're about to open another exhibit. I think they just actually opened it this past weekend, now that I think about it. So they are, I mean, while they jokingly say 2026 is great, we're looking forward to 2037, they are very actively engaged as far as partnership and also having exhibits that talk about this. So don't think that if you're bringing your tour groups here, that you should skip the Constitution Center. It is a place to definitely go to. They are making the connections to 2037 for us. And we joke with the current interim president, he's like, I'm already thinking about that. I'm like, give me a year and I'll be right there with you.
The thing about the
Right.
Constitution Center that's different than the first bank or the second bank, the Constitution Center decides on their own exhibits in their own way. And they're going to decide what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. Um, we don't have that flexibility with the first bank or the second bank or anything else. Park Service decides all of those things. So the Constitution Center has a much more free hand in terms of what they decide what story they want to tell, which is great for them. And I think they do a good job in telling those stories. But we don't have the freedom that they have. We, the trust, don't have that freedom.
Yeah, we
Uh,
rely heavily on the Park Service and their expertise to tell about our interpretation because that's where they're really strong at, and we're here to support them.
Okay, great. And this is an easy one. I noticed today that the restrooms on the corner of Fifth and Chestnut were closed. Are they closed for
Oh,
any extended period?
as far as I know, it's just maintenance.
Okay.
So it's maintenance. I'm not sure if it will reopen tomorrow. It might, but if not, it will definitely be open. We've been very happy that they've been able to open them for so long now. I think it's a 9:15, 10 o'clock start to at least 5. I think it's just today was maintenance, but they should be reopening soon.
Okay, awesome. All right, that's all the questions I have in chat. Does anyone else have a question otherwise? I don't see anything. Tom, Maddie, and Michael, thank you so much for today's presentation. You know that the Association of Philadelphia Tour Guides is always here should you need us, and we're happy to help out however we can.
And thank you all
Thank
for
you.
what you
And
do. Thank you
mhm.
for what you do. I mean, we work on creating things, helping to make things happen in the park. But if people don't come and see it, and somebody tells them the story about it, it's not worthwhile. So we really value what the tour guides do.
Oh,
Yeah, we
thank you.
really appreciate the fact that all of you are ambassadors for our city and really make us shine. So it's amazing what you do, and we appreciate coming out tonight.
All right, thank you both. And there's some nice comments in the chat too. I don't know if you've been reading them, but really wonderful. Thank you. Great presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank
So
you.
you have a lot of fans. Thank you. Have a good evening. Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Good
Bye,
night.
Thank you.
everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.